These catacombs, aptly named after the catacombs in Rome, may not be the biggest tourist spot within the city of Paris, but these subterranean tunnels are huge. I have found they are easily longer than 200 miles, stretching underneath the city. So, why were these tunnels built? I, for one, have been interested in the Paris catacombs for a very long time. So I decided to do some research and attempt to write this article about the world-famous labyrinth just underneath the City of Lights. I hope to share some facts I found out about the history of the catacombs, information I am now eager to share with anyone and everyone who cares to know about the Paris Municipal Ossuary. This tale begins with the Parisii. They were a small Celtic tribe that settled on a river Seine. This little settlement was taken over by the Romans, who founded the city of Lutetia. I believe it wasn't until the fall of the Roman Empire that the name of the city was changed to Paris, as we all know it today. The tunnels were not meant to be a mass grave. The Parisian rock quarries began operation in 1810 because the area was mineral rich with limestone, clay, and of course Lutetian stone, which was used for much of the brickwork to construct the city. Unfortunately, French leadership tried to take charge and actually regulate those mines, but it seemed this effort was too little too late. The mines were closed in 1776, following a number of collapses, mostly due to unsafe and improperly regulated mining practices at that time, which is also why it is so dangerous to explore those tunnels in the first place. The original entrance to the Parisian rock quarries was in Montreux. The tunnels are about 65 feet underground, which corresponds with the limestone layer under France. The country of France had a dark history, to the point that the cemeteries in Paris were literally overflowing with bodies, when rotting corpses began to litter the streets. Because of this, the Saints Innocents Cemetery was closed in 1780. Bones were at first dumped down quarry wells and were later stacked and arranged in fascinating arrangements and designs. So hundreds of bodies were transferred from 1785 till a bit after the French Revolution, about 1814. I heard that it took 12 years to move all the graves into the catacombs, usually under cover of night, to conceal the movement of the bodies. The Paris Municipal Ossuary was founded in 1786, and people began to refer to the old quarry as the catacombs. The tunnels are believed to house at least 6 million human bodies. Interesting enough, the catacombs of Paris were used as more than just a crypt, if we fast forward to World War II, when the Axis powers annexed the entire country of France. Parts of the tunnels were used as Nazi bunkers, which they seem to be very well known for building. A lot of priceless artifacts were taken from the country, and France has never been the same. Unpopular theory, I wonder if some of that stuff is still hidden in the catacombs in parts that nobody's been. Carrying on. Germany took control in 1940, and members of the French resistance fighters also used the mines to aid in their fight to eventually take back the city of France. Despite hundreds of years to explore, a large part of the ossuary is unexplored and will likely never be fully explored because of the extravagant length of the tunnels. Many areas are blocked or just difficult to access in general. In 1944, the Allies were finally able to take back France as the Third Reich was falling. Fittingly, there is a sign at one of the entrances that reads, "Stop. This is the Empire of the Death." Of the Death? Good job. Not only because of the graves, but also because the tunnels are so extensive, it is really easy to get lost. Many people have gone in and never found a way out. Tragically, there was at least one account where a man disappeared into the catacombs, and his body was later found right next to an exit from the crypts. The man probably got lost and his mind betrayed him in desperation. He was likely so disoriented that he didn't know just how close he was to escaping his early grave. It is prohibited by the Prefecture of Police in France, punishable by large fines. Even with the restrictions in place, though, urban explorers still manage to get into the restricted tunnels of death. If you decide to try exploring the old mines, this is not advice and could very well get you lost in a tomb. Well, actually, that is quite fitting. Carry on. I feel like your first step to exploring would be to find a safe entry point. You would want to have a map from a local, if obtainable, or at the very least, take notes as you walk to give yourself a step-by-step on how you got in. The big thing would be keeping a level head on at all times. So if nothing else, taking notes as you walk would help keep your mind off everything else. Your brain is your own worst enemy in a potentially dangerous survival situation. I feel like your best course of action would be to walk straight down one tunnel, even if there are other paths, until you reach the end of that tunnel. Then you want to stop there. Make a note of all of your surroundings, for example, displays, pillar rocks, textures, literally anything to place a mental marker. Once you have a good idea of where you are, you can then explore some more. If you get lost, track back to the last place that you recognize and calm yourself down, as in any survival situation, don't panic. If you act rash or irrationally, you will become turned around. Remember, it is of great importance to save your energy if in a life and death situation. Today, there is a small portion of the municipal ossuaries open to the public. A little over a mile of tunnels are legally accessible. This small section of the catacombs are open for guided tours. As I said before, much of the tunnel system remains unexplored. It is very dangerous to enter the caverns due to the excessive length and, as I mentioned before, shoddy workmanship on building the mines. The length is disorienting, though, to say the least. Most people die while exploring because they are unable to think clearly in their scared state of mind. Only part of the tunnel system is known as the catacombs. The rest of the massive complex are simply old rock quarries. In conclusion, the Paris Municipal Ossuary is a very interesting place to learn about. Just the scope of the place makes it a creepy destination, to be sure. I know personally, I would get so claustrophobic, and I usually don't have a fear of tight spaces. I have a lot of interest in going to the catacombs, but I feel like a private tour in a section of the tunnel that I'm allowed to go into would be good enough for me. I can only hope that I never get lost in a network of sprawling tombs, as in my worst nightmares. This massive labyrinth is very eerie, and I hope to one day get to Paris to see the historical mine turned into a tomb with my own eyes. But, I'm going to need to borrow at least 10 to 15K if I want to go there. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.